Hey guys, it's Paul here with Geometrics, and a few months back Laguna sent us out one of their Revo 1524 lathes for evaluation, and we did an unboxing video back at that time, shared some preliminary thoughts around it, and as I like to do, I've now spent a few months doing some projects with it, bowl turning, spindle turning, really put it through its paces. And what I'm going to do now is kind of share with you some perspectives. I'm going to walk through feature by feature and give you some perspectives on it, and then at the end of the video I'm going to try and preempt the questions that I'm getting about this lathe, which is really, how do I think about this relative to the 1216 and the 1836 and the 2436 for that matter? Really, where does this fit in? So I want to spend a little bit of time at the end kind of sharing my perspective, since I have turned on all of those machines, quite a bit actually, and I'll give you some thoughts on that as we wrap up. All right, before I dive into features, I want to just talk about the specifications a little bit of the machine. The 1524 has a 1.5 horsepower motor. It has infinitely variable speed, forward and reverse. Bowl turning capacity with the standard bed of 15.5 inches and spindle turning capacity on the standard configuration of 25 inches. The machine in its standard configuration weighs in at about 288 pounds, and just to put that into perspective, that is roughly, not exactly, but approximately twice as much as the 1216 weighs and half as much as the 1836 weighs. This is a sizable lathe. I would consider it a full-size lathe, but it is not in that kind of professional grade like the 1836 and the 2436. All right, the 1524 has a polished steel bed, which is a great material for sliding a banjo across. Came out of the box dead flat. It's still dead flat after a few months of use. The legs that come standard with the machine are made of cast iron, which great material for lathe legs because it's heavy, adds some good weight and stability, and it's vibration dampening. So it's a great material for that. These legs also have a neat feature which is unique in the Revo lineup, and that is adjustability. You actually have a 15-inch range of adjustability in height, so you can dial this in for a big range of height of wood turners, so that really comes in handy. Let's take a look at a few of the features around the headstock area on the lathe. First, the motor is a 110 volt, 1.5 horsepower motor powered by pulse width modulation. What PWM is a technology that provides resistance compensation. So if you start to bog down leaning into a heavy cut on a bowl, it will deliver additional burst of energy to that process and keep the bowl spinning at a consistent RPM as much as possible. You have an infinitely variable speed ranging from 50 RPM up to 4,200 RPM, and the LED display will give you real-time feedback as to how fast that spindle is currently spinning. Very nice. Forward and reverse, I really like using the reverse feature for sanding bowls. Lets you direct that stream of dust right down the gullet of your dust collection system. And I really like this new clear display panel that they've added to the front of the lathe to be able to see in and tell exactly which speed range you're in. So you've got 3 different speed ranges that are adjustable by moving a belt from one pulley to the next. If you need to make an adjustment, it's really straightforward. You just open up this door, release the tension on the belt, move the belt over to the desired pulley, drop it back into place, and you're back up and running in no time. Another neat design feature on the headstock on this machine and all of the Revo machines is this cone shape extended headstock. That does a couple things. One, it's a nice convenience for bowl turning. It gives you easier access to, if you're working on the bottom of a bowl. But from a design standpoint, there's something interesting to me about that. It allows the engineer to space out the spindle bearings. So you've got 2 spindle bearings, and by spacing them out, it gives you better control and stabilization over that spinning spindle, which is going to minimize the vibration. If you saw the dime test that I did in the unboxing video, that's part of the secret to the success of keeping the vibration down on a lathe that's spinning that fast. The 1524 comes standard with an integrated indexing system that allows you to perform a decorative function like piercing or carving on your project after it's complete. So with the lathe turned off, you would manually rotate the spindle, lock it into one of 24 predefined indexed positions using this threaded pin. perform your function, release it, move it to the next location and sequence, and continue on augmenting your project using the indexing feature. The headstock on this machine also has the ability to slide down to the other end of the bed where it can be used for outboard turning if you have the optional extension, which I'll get to in a little bit. Tailstock is cast iron, which gives you nice additional mass to the machine. It has these nice long levered handles to release and lock. It locks very securely, and because it's cast iron sliding against that polished steel, that's a nice combination. You've got 4.5 inches of travel on the quill, which I really like for bowl turning, particularly scooping out the inside when I can have the tailstock as far away as possible, and that long quill allows me to have better access to scooping out the inside of the bowl. It's a subtlety, but it's a nice feature. All right, there's one more feature that I'd call your attention to on the tailstock, and that is something that Laguna calls precise position, and that is something that they have a patent on, and it allows you to adjust in all directions the position of the quill to align it to the spindle and the spur center. And so it gives you about 1/8 inch of wiggle room in any direction. So if you did have something that arrived and it was not quite perfectly positioned, this allows you to dial it exactly in. The banjo on the 1524 is almost identical to the 1836. Made of cast iron, nice beefy size, long cushy handle, lots of leverage for locking it in tightly, and really holds solidly. Love the collar mechanism to lock the post in place, so it wraps around the post evenly, gets a nice grab, and it's a non-marring, very tight grip. I also love this newly designed longer handle on the post locking mechanism. That's even a little bit longer than the one that I have on the 2436. So really great way to lock onto that post securely because of all that leverage. The tool rest on here is identical as far as I can tell to the one that I have on the 2436, except for shorter posts because you don't need as much height extension. The thing that really sets these apart, I love the ergonomic shape, but this spring steel tip is just so durable and non-marring, and it just holds up great over years of abuse. So basically, if you look at aftermarket tool rests out there, the nice heavy duty ones, this is what they look like. All right, that's it for the standard features. Let me talk about a few of the optional accessories that I have here. First, this new LED light is really cool, and it's getting a lot of attention on the internet. First, it's got 3-knuckle articulating arm, really nice for positioning anywhere you want, whether you're bowl turning, spindle turning, outboard turning, whatever. Nice big illuminating head. You've got a couple of adjustments, one for light intensity, so you can dial it up, dial it down, and then warmth or color spectrum, and you can control that to get your optimal viewing. Great for photography. If you're doing video on your lathe projects, it's going to really light that up and be great for camera work, and just great for visibility as you're working. I also have the mobility kit, which allows me to move the lathe around the shop easily, even if I've got a little bit of debris on the floor. So it's got nice, good size, cushy urethane wheels, and it's got an easy foot lever for raising it up, moving it around, and then easily dropping it down into place so it's sitting solidly as you're turning. There's also a 20-inch extension available for the lathe that I have here. It can be mounted in 2 positions, up high flush with the bed for additional 20 inches capacity of spindle turning, or you can mount it down below, and that drops it down 5 inches to give you a total of 10 more inches of capacity for bowls. And I think it would be great for turning a large platter, as an example. The extension comes with this additional riser, this articulating arm, to give you more height and range for your tool rest to accommodate a larger item. All right, that wraps up a look at the features and accessories of the 1524 and the Revo family. As I promised on the front end of the video, I want to do just a quick comparison to kind of help position this product against the 1216, which I've had for quite a while in the shop here, and I also had an 1836 in here for quite a while. So to kind of help put a little perspective reality check around that. So compare to the 1216. So the 1216, great MIDI lathe, plenty of power for spindle turning and small to medium sized bowls. You get up into that the maximum capacity 12, 14-inch bowl, and you're really going to push the outer limits of that machine. You may have seen a video where I turned a 14-inch bowl on the 1216 using the outboard attachment, and I got through it, and the bowl turned out nice. It was I felt like I was pushing the outer limits of what the machine was capable of doing, just from a power and stability perspective. Now, a 14-inch bowl on here, nothing to it. This is going to power through that. It's got that 50% additional power, the additional mass to stabilize it. That's a nice size bowl for this machine. If you start pushing it beyond that, now you should start thinking about an 1836. The double weight, the variable frequency drive, the outboard turning capability, which gives you a additional riser block if you go with the outboard accessory. It gives you a riser block where you can engage the tailstock and really then scale up the bowl size on the outboard turning. This gives you the outboard capability but not the riser block. They're really kind of cautioning you to not push the limits of this machine too much. So, serious bowl turning contender for a hobbyist that wants to dive in reasonably deep in bowl turning, but if you really want to go for it, it's going to be a lot of difference between this machine and the 1836. So give that some consideration. I hope you make a good choice. Enjoy your bowl turning. I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you'll subscribe to the Toolmetrics channel and come back for more woodworking, wood turning, and DIY related videos.